Welcome to Wellness Warriors, a podcast addressing the root causes of illness and their natural solutions. And now your hosts of Wellness Warriors, Dr. Justin Lane and Michelle Schroeder.
Well, hello, Dr. Lane. How are you today?
I am outstanding, Michael. How are you?
I'm great. And off to my right is the lovely and effervescent Michelle Schroeder. And the crowd goes wild. Speaking of going wild, this is weird, me being in the middle here. I'm going to have to keep doing this. So, you know what's really wild? Hidden toxins. Oh my gosh. They are the wildest of the wild. Let's talk about hidden toxins. And could they be the reason why, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm eating right. I'm exercising. I'm brushing and flossing my teeth. I'm doing all these things. I still don't feel good. What's going on? Could I have hidden toxins in myself somewhere?
Absolutely. That's a big category. We often refer to it as chemical sensitivities or environmental sensitivities. And that is a hidden trigger for a lot of folks that may not realize they're getting exposed or having daily repeated exposures because they're hidden, meaning they're not obvious.
They're
right?
hidden in
Hidden
foods,
toxins.
they're hidden
Yes.
in the air, they're hidden in your blankets, they're hidden in your furniture, they're hidden in
Your body care products. the air
personal
we
care
breathe.
products.
Yeah.
God.
They're
Right.
hidden in everything.
Hidden in the air. I'll just need to stop breathing. I feel so
That'll
much
keep you
better.
healthy.
Right.
For like 45 seconds.
Right.
Wow. So Michelle, they're in basically everything?
Yes, and it can be a little discouraging when you recognize how many toxins that you're exposed to all the time.
Oh, pray tell. Tell us all about this so we feel even worse.
Well, I think some of the most common ones that maybe I'd put my attention on first would be food. So you have dyes, you have chemical additives that are in, so processed food is a big one. We've always purported the diet of whole real foods, and there's a reason for that. And also I would pay attention to personal care products if you're a woman, especially. I have heard statistics that say that by the time you're done getting dressed in the morning, you've been exposed to almost 1,000 different toxins. And there's a bioaccumulative effect of that. Some of them you might clear through the liver, but some of them just get caught in the tissues and they don't clear out of the body unless you know how to do it.
And so for all those ladies out there, we're talking about makeup, right? A lot of makeups have a lot of toxic chemicals. In fact, some of the entrepreneurs that I really value the most are ones that have come up with alternatives because there's a lot of people out there that are suffering. Parabens, that's kind of a category of chemical. That's in a lot of lotions, shampoos, conditioners, soap, things like that. So generally speaking, if it has more than 3 to 5 ingredients, we might want to think twice about using it, certainly if we can't pronounce what's in it. And putting it on our skin is a challenge.
I remember in the olden days, I'd watch these TV commercials, and maybe you guys remember them, but there was a particular deodorant that was touting the fact that they were the best one because they had aluminum chlorhydrate, which prevents, you from sweating profusely. And now that's like probably one of the most toxic things you could ever see.
It's a heavy metal that bioaccumulates in your body, and you get it from more than just your deodorant, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so when we talk about we're surrounded by toxins. That's why we preach so much on eating healthy and protecting yourself and supporting your liver detox, because we're inundated every day, all day with fumes, benzene rings or benzene compounds. These are gasoline fumes as an example, or other toxic, smells or compounds. You're swimming them in your water, right? People do a lot of swimming in pools, a lot of chlorine exposure. So when possible, you want to look for saltwater or freshwater pools, or cut down on your swimming and mix it up with something else, another activity. So it's
pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, and it will get in your food through that as well.
Or your home.
And then it goes downstream in the water systems, and they know that there is no pristine area in the entire world that's not affected by toxins. Manufacturing companies you've got the pollution going up in the air, and it gets in the clouds. It rains on all over the earth, and you have plastics.
So that doesn't scare you
just
enough to get
everything.
healthy. I don't know what
Yeah.
will.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So on top of all that we can't avoid, when we start eating just a bunch of junk like processed foods and drinking things we shouldn't be drinking that are filled with sugar and God knows what else, we mix that with everything else. I'm amazed that we're all still alive at all.
Well, there's a big uptick
Yeah.
in chronic illness. There's a big uptick in autoimmune, and it is happening alongside of an uptick in toxins that are being distributed.
And there's nowhere we can go. So we can't all just like move to high up on a mountain and live by a crystal clear lake where we can bathe and get our drinking water and eat fresh berries. And since no one will be around, we won't have to wear clothes.
Maybe you should try that.
We don't get clothes toxic. Just be naked, wild, and free. Oh, hippies.
Right.
Yeah, I did that for a while.
living on the mountain. Yes.
Yeah. Wow, it's kind of scary when you think about it.
It is, and it's a little bit frustrating when you're trying to figure out how to detox your body too, because I'm a big fan of removing the source as much as possible, but there's a lot of difficulty in finding a way to remove all the sources.
So these toxins, do different toxins have different side effects? Like if I'm feeling sluggish, that might be from one toxin, and then if I've got a skin rash, that could be from different toxins. Or
Definitely.
Can you identify which toxin is causing which situation?
We do with testing. Yeah, we want to see through some good blood testing or even urine testing. We can see what your immune system's reacting to or what you're excreting out of your body. That gives us a clue as to what you're dealing with. But it's hard to know for sure. I mean, with each toxin, there can be an overlay of symptoms too. There can be a lot of common symptoms. So, for example, with mold exposure, mold toxicity, right? That's a big one. And a lot of folks, I think awareness is the first thing. So this podcast really for our viewers and listeners is just making you aware. So start paying attention, closer attention when you start really looking at what's in my body care products or what's in my food or what's in, what am I putting on my body or what's in my home that I'm getting exposed. The first step's awareness. And so we've worked with a lot of people that just didn't connect that, hey, I'm sick because of maybe something in my house with a water leak or a water damaged building at school or at my business. And they're having these continual symptoms, and they can range. They can be fatigue. They can be brain fog. They can be, tingling and numbness. Muscle and joint pain. Nausea. There's a whole range of symptoms, and they can vary depending on toxin. There's a lot of overlap. But the key is, what is it? What is it? It's not, it's something that we often do test for because it's hard to identify. Like food, you can usually get a reaction. You eat a food and you'll know fairly quickly if it's not agreeing with you. But when it's in your environment and your lifestyle, it can be a little trickier to diagnose and then to identify. So testing is a big part of that. Your symptoms are a big part of that. Your habits, your routines, your patterns are a big part of that. So it's just, we're kind of investigators. We investigate with people and we ask questions and we try to figure out what we're dealing with.
So Michelle, once we are figuring this stuff out, do I need to go out and invest a bunch of money in some expensive detox things, or?
Well, that's a good question. When you say that, if you're referring to doing like a heavy detox, like with a whole bunch of supplements or something like that, there's a time and a place and a way to do a proper detox. That's one of the things that Dr. Lane and I help people with. But I think the first thing to look at is, again, your food, your air, and you can get relatively inexpensive air purifiers that will help with toxins in your home. And water. Water's like a big one. I would recommend everybody drink filtered water, not in plastic bottles, because plastic is another big toxin. And
microplastics.
And we have a lot of hormone imbalances going on in the world right now, and that can be caused because of lots of plastics that we're exposed to, the plastic that's wrapping in our food, the containers that all of our food are sold in. A lot of them are plastic, so you want to reduce your plastic use by getting glass containers for storage of your food.
And or stainless steel.
Or stainless steel. And so there's things you can start to just be aware of. I like to give a list to my clients of all the possible ones, and I say, just start with the one that's the easiest, check it off. When you get that one handled, look down and go, what's my next toxin I'm going to try to reduce in my environment?
So in addition to like using glass and stainless steel to drink from, what are a couple other things that I can do just to kind of get started?
Well, yeah, like I said, one of the first things I did was I made sure I had a good water purifier, like a filtration system to drink purified water.
What about synthetic fragrances?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can reduce your use of that. That would be a good idea. Most of them have chemical additives in them that aren't good. And people that are sensitive, actually, that are around you, you wear heavy perfume or heavy cologne or something like that, you actually are affecting the people around you that have some sensitivities to that. They can get headaches and a little bit of brain fog from it.
When it comes to food, the best recommendation is still organic, particularly fruits and vegetables. The argument usually is, well, those are so expensive. Well, maybe, but what's your health worth?
Right.
How much is it going to cost you down the road? It's an investment now, and they taste better usually. And if you can't do all organic, then you want to prioritize your thin-skinned vegetables and fruits to be organic, because the pesticides tend to penetrate those a lot easier than, let's say, a hard skin like
a banana.
Or an avocado or something like that. But when possible, do organic for all that. That just limits your exposures. When you look at things like meat, for example, you want to favor grass-fed, grass-finished beef, because they're eating grass. You're getting the ALAs, the omega-3s from the cow. You're eating what they're eating. So if they're getting shot up with hormones and antibiotics, which is the usual case with conventionally grown meat, that's what you're eating. And that's why often we see younger women, girls, hitting menopause earlier, menstrual cycles, puberty earlier, because the hormones that they're ingesting are creating that earlier and earlier.
Yeah, and what's happening with all of these toxins too is, speaking of menopause early or that kind of thing, is that it clogs up the cell. So all the hormone receptors on the cells are damaged, and all of the hormone signaling gets messed up. So
we call them endocrine disruptors. These are chemicals that, particularly with women, because women have a lot more endocrine receptors, more estrogen receptors, so they're often more susceptible. But I see it with men too, particularly with their testosterone levels. I've worked with a few men that just have low testosterone, and they're young. They're 25, 30, 35 years old. They shouldn't have testosterone, below 200, which is really low on a lab test. And often what I find is these guys are working around chemicals. They're cleaning pools. They're around chlorine, or they're around chemicals with cabinets. They're making cabinets, or they're doing other woodworking or metalworking. And those chemicals start to get ingested, and then they start to affect the endocrine system and the ability to make your sex hormones. So that's a problem. So that's why we're saying, stop the poisoning. First is being aware that we have all these things coming into our life in various ways.
And then you mentioned, support your body. So when you were talking about organic vegetables, I was just thinking about making sure that you are eating significant amount of vegetables, so that your body you're helping your immune system, and you're keeping your body clean a little bit more.
Yeah, the veggies start to bind to some of the toxins.
They're almost like a chelator.
They
just pull some of those toxins through. And then if you're not eating too much sugar, you're keeping your liver a little more healthy, and that way that your body will know how to process these toxins better. So you can do a lot to help yourself. So my word is, don't get discouraged. Just do what you can. Control what you can.
That's a good point. I really liked what you said when you're talking about grass-fed beef. So when we're having a steak from that's been raised on grass-fed beef, we're eating what they're eating. So that kind of makes it, when you're eating a nice big juicy grass-fed steak, you're kind of a tier 2 vegetarian, because the vegetarians have just been converted into a protein form. It's a double bonus. You're getting your vegetables and protein at the same time. That tastes better than just grass. So
Yeah, there you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's better than having to eat grass.
Yeah, yeah,
belly finish your grass.
right, exactly.
So, I get the impression that this is something that I and probably most people should be taking more seriously. And I think sometimes we're just like, oh, I really don't feel good today, and my head's a little foggy, and I'm kind of tired. And, I don't know what's wrong with me. It could be this.
It could.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So one thing that we are big fans of is, regular detoxes and cleanse. If you're doing 1 or 2 a year, with the season maybe change, that's just a good way to keep your immune system strong, to kind of purge toxins out of the body. You don't have to be extreme with fasting. I mean, you can. Fasting is a great way to induce autophagy, which gets the body to self-heal and clean up debris in the body. It can be hard on the body, but that's another way. So there's a lot of different ways that you can detox and cleanse through diet. Just eating more vegetables and fruits is a start. I just got off one a couple weeks ago where basically 4 or 5 days, that's all we did. It was liquid. It was just vegetables and fruit.
Wow.
And there was no protein. And you would see people going through some stuff. I mean, there was a lot of folks with headache. We weren't doing caffeine either. So a lot of folks were headaches, or they're tired, or they're detoxing through their sinuses or their bowels. And so that's normal. That's getting rid of stuff. Your body's processing it. So if you are detoxing, you want to take it easy. You don't want to be doing that vigorous workout you might normally be doing. It's time to kind of relax, let the body heal.
Mm-hmm.
But
sweating still is good.
Sweating definitely still good. Yeah. That's another way to get it out through the skin. So those are things that we can take steps along with being aware, and also supporting our liver, supporting our gut health, and then doing detoxes a couple times a year. Those are great ways to just keep healthy.
I think that's a great idea. Michelle, anything else you'd like to add to this?
I think I'm good.
I think you're great. Well, I know shall we give the folks a little preview from the next podcast? So, guys, the next podcast we're going to be talking about hormones.
That's right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Leads right into that, actually.
Yeah, it goes right into that. So, in the meantime, we'd like to say thank you to Dr. Justin Lane and the lovely Michelle Schroeder, two
Thanks,
of our
Michael.
wellness warriors. And we're going to see you guys again next time with another exciting edition of the Wellness Warriors. You can learn all about hormones. You guys take care.
This has been Wellness Warriors, giving people the knowledge to have a healthy and vibrant life. For more information, elementalnaturalmedicine.com and kmichelleschroeder.com. We invite you to join us next time for another edition of Wellness Warriors.